Aloha, beautiful souls. I just wanted to share the forest with you all before we begin this transmission. I'm here with my fern friends, taking in that morning light. We got a deep topic today. I'm talking about the light leaders, which is you and me. So I thought, well, let's ground in with some Gaia first, right? Go. Taking in the ferns, the forest, the light. A few deep breaths. This is a very deep topic. Checking out the tree line. Awesome. And I'm going to find a place to sit down and then I will be right back. Okay. Let's see. All right. Getting grounded in here. So this is about the changing of the guard. This is about the light leaders that are coming forth. I heard very clearly a few weeks ago, almost about a month ago, actually, I guess this was around Galactic New Year, that the new light leadership is preparing to come forth. So I think that's a really important topic to discuss and to share. How do we support it? What does it look like? And again, it's an unlimited topic. So it's really what resonates with you, what feels true and right with you. Essentially, we're seeing an expedited collapse. We're seeing the distortion of the system, of the machine, right? It's becoming more and more obvious that these systems don't work, that the old paradigm is crashing. So while we await the specifics of the shift, how the new earth is going to function, we can prepare internally. Some of us may be called to take more radical steps, action steps. Remember that action is affirmation. So we can pull our energy out of the system and say no. So an example of that would be myself pulling my child out of the government indoctrination centers, which were formerly education centers. The last few years, it's become increasingly obvious that they are not there to educate children or empower children for the world, right? But to kind of indoctrinate. And more people are pulling out of that system to homeschool. Some of us may be called more loudly into community activities or positions locally in the community to voice, to attend city hall meetings or any kind of civics meetings. We're seeing so much all over the board, the power of standing up and saying no. And that kind of is revealing of the fact that a lot of this is a house of cards. The old paradigm is a house of cards. What's been difficult to observe is how easy it is to shift everything by all of us stepping into our power with love and saying, no, thank you, no, and standing up. And I've been shown in vision, all humanity has to do is rise and say no, coming into our power. And this final quarter of the year, we're going to continue to have that invitation. And you're going to see it get more and more ludicrous to help shake people out of slumber that are kind of compliant and perpetuating the machine through their own DNA, their own consciousness in their body, through their lack of personal power or their unwillingness, their fear, essentially, to stand up. So how we can support those people is really coming into greater pure peace ourselves and love and compassion. Because if we're embodying the pure Christed energetics of the new earth, of the higher timeline, of the golden age, this will support a much more peaceful and easy transition into the golden age for everybody. It also disempowers those who have been here. I call them the fallen angels or the dark angels that are playing a fabulous role, as being the bad guys, right? Because it's all roles in a role player game. So by embodying these higher frequencies of pure peace and love and gratitude and trust and faith, that in itself can be a very powerful form of spiritual activism, kind of behind the scenes. And that's more how I roll. It also lends energy to those who feel called to take more of an active community role, which could be potentially putting them in what feels like it's the illusion of a more vulnerable position. So those that are out there protesting or attending, let's say, for example, um, school board meetings and saying no, all these different examples, or taking action against any mandates and saying, no, we're not going to do that. There's a portion of San Francisco where the business owners have gotten together and told the city that they're not going to pay taxes anymore as business owners if certain measures aren't done to support their business and to support a clean and healthy city. So that's what I'm talking about, is like people getting together. Sometimes we're guided in more of a community aspect to rise and have boundaries and assert them with a voice. So some of us are going to be called to do that. Some of us are going to be called to take leadership positions. And there's so many different aspects of this that it can look like. So for me, I'm the one taking the leadership position in my family to be well researched and educated and to feel into things energetically and know what's aligned and what's not aligned for my family and for my child, and to take the action steps and do whatever it takes in order to ensure that she is safe and actually getting an education, right? And what is education? We're going to completely reframe what that is. It's a multidimensional process of being a being here at various ages and stages of the game, a spiritual being having a human experience. So I don't even like to really use the word education anymore, but it's, I guess, the best way to try to explain what we're doing. Um, the other message about this is, I mean, the energy report, if you will, for lack of better phrasing, that I received for the year of 2022 was that of Mother Mary and the heart chakra and all of the Sophia Mary lineage energies, Kali Ma as well. There's definitely some ferocious aspects of Divine Mother really coming through strongly to support the children, and to support basically the cleanup crew, the ground crew, in the removal of all of this distortion in regards to our children and what's going on. And so one of the ways that you can support that movement is connecting with Mother Mary, praying, seeing the visualization of a beautiful, loving, nurturing environment for our children of all ages, seeing reform. And I think it's good not to get specific in what that looks like, but focusing more on the essence, the energy, the feeling. There's a pure feeling, right, of our children having a pure experience coming into the world, and that those who interact with our children are aligned at a soul level, stewards, and have pure intentions with their calling, with what they're here to do with our children. So all of the caregivers, the care centers, all of these different things. And I'm kind of seeing an eradication of those systems completely, that we come more into a tribal network like we used to, right? Where we still say it takes a village to raise a child. So I think it's going to be different because we see how how money and all these different bureaucratic processes have kind of distorted, you know, care centers and all this stuff, and schools, all this stuff. So it's hard to get specific with these things. It's really about focusing on the essence so that we're not in the way of the divine and all of this realignment. And that's where I say that you and me are the light leaders, because we're going to be called to serve in varying degrees of public and private service. So if you're like me and you're more private about your service, then I'll share what I do, which is connecting with my own inner cosmic Christ every morning when I wake up. And this is kind of where that guerrilla mystic factor comes in, is really um, witnessing what arises in the mind and in the heart emotionally, doing the clearing, seeing, honoring the fragments of self, the wounds, any of the egoic programming that arises, really honoring and loving with tenderness all distortion so that we return back into unity, into peace again. And sometimes with all the solar activity right now, it's like every few hours we're cycling through some traumatic memory or experience, and we could feel all the feelings again. And so it's really important in the moment. It's just practicing pure presence and being aware and kind and loving and compassionate to what is and to what arises so that we can transcend. And again, the goal isn't reaching or transcending. It's not that there's something inherently wrong. We're in a clarification process. You can imagine all of us as crystals. Any little shadows, any distortions, any blurs, blurry window, dusty windows, they're coming up to be cleaned, to be restored to full clarity so that we can see without distortion, without the lenses of pain and separation, all of those veils. So, by all of us doing that work ourselves, that really contributes greatly to the whole process of clarification and just a pure new earth, unity consciousness, heart centered, soul centered, balanced, connected, tangible, embodied experience that we will be sharing. New Earth has existed in a frequency, a dimension of being from the heart space for so long. And it's up to each of us to reach that space within. And we're starting to see that it is beginning to manifest on the physical plane, which is so exciting. And that's kind of this whole reformation of all of the systems that have been in place that were actually, the old ways, the slave systems. And so the best way is to focus on our own sovereignty and our love and our appreciation, our gratitude for the true knowing that we have a choice. We always have a choice and that we are inherently free, and just holding that frequency and going out in public may be how you serve the greater populace. By holding that frequency, remember that nervous systems synchronize. So those of us that have a greater light quotient, meaning that we are in a state of reverence and love and peace and presence and just easygoing compassion flowing like water, right, with what is, those of us that hold that space as long as we can, right? And then the next thing will arise, and then we return to that pure place again. Going out in public and holding those frequencies, we have the stronger nervous system. We are the lighthouses when we hold those frequencies and go out in public. So, your activism, spiritual activism, may be meditating, getting into that pure space, and then that's how you start your day. And you emit that, right? Like a Tesla coil. You emit that frequency like a sacred cosmic antenna of new earth to everyone that's around you, your family, your neighbors, your community, your town, all the systems in your town. So it's really about having that visualization. And this is where Mother Mary comes in again, and the divine feminine and the ascended masters, and even the Galactic Federation, the pure Galactic Federation, is that owning these beautiful high frequencies and emitting them out can be a huge contribution. And that may be what you're called to do. So that's more what I'm called to do, is kind of a more behind the scenes, emitting these beautiful frequencies. There's a lovely lady walking by with a beautiful husky dog. um, so that's how I am called to serve. Um, in addition to having strong boundaries with the systems and pulling out of them and saying no, I will not allow my child to be subjected to frequencies that are not pure, that don't have her highest development and growth in mind. And that's the frequency I hold for all children in the school systems, and for parents to um, come into seeing this, and that we will begin to form cooperative collectives to nurture our children and empower them and really support their development and stretching their minds to learn and grow and ask, and to function fully as energetic beings at soul level here. So that's a little bit about my process as a light leader and what that means to me right now. Um, yeah. So I hope this helps. Um, I was told it's time to share this. So, with Mother Mary and the Ascended Masters, you can visualize connecting with them, feeling the energies of them, and then kind of imagining that it's like broadcasting out all around, just like this beautiful forest. All the trees, right? All the trees here are telephone poles in a way. They're all antenna. That's like each of us too. So we could be emitting these incredible frequencies out connecting with source, radiating it out into the collectives and supporting the shift that way, just with loving grace and pure presence. So this is a way to start to embody and own that we are the light leaders. And we do it with the power of our mind and the power of our heart combined, with some imagination maybe sprinkled in there, and just gratitude. And you don't have to visualize if you don't want to, if you're not called to do that. Just emitting those frequencies. It's happening naturally with our heartbeat. Every beat of your heart pulses out those sensations out into the collective, out into the galaxy. So I thank you so much for joining me here for this video. It's a little impromptu forest, fern, light leaders empowerment chat. Cheering you on here. We're in this together. We're in it to win it. We already won. It's just a matter of holding it now so that the process can happen as gracefully, beautifully, magically, divinely as possible for all of creation. So thank you so much. Sending you so much love today, light leaders of this beautiful new earth. And I will see you soon. I haven't been doing videos lately because there's so much going on. It's easier for me to do a podcast to get the data out, to get the transmissions out faster. But when I can and when I'm called, I'll show my face. Sending you all so much love, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.